Great, 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 great. So what does compliance mean to you? Temitope says adherence to rules and regulations and policies. That's very brilliant as well. Who else is sharing? What does compliance mean to you? Meeting and upholding standard practices. Great. You guys have been beautiful and fantastic so far. So just as you have said, you've all said, compliance is essential. Doing things legally, simply put, do it the right way, do it legally, do it however way. Just make sure it's legal, following statutory, company policies or whoever is defining, whoever the regulator is at that point. So I love that. From a fintech perspective, compliance simply means standards and ethical practices that governs its operations. I love that. From who is sharing from health and care perspective, because I think I saw some support workers meeting the standards set by the governing body or industry authority. Beautiful. So compliance, is very essential across different organizations, for government, for companies, for societies. Compliance is very important. It ensures that they operate within the bounds of the law, they adhere to regulations and meet ethical and industry standards. It's also multifaceted. Compliance is not one thing. You could be a compliance officer in one role, in one company, under another industry, where what you are ensuring compliance to is completely different from another organization. So two compliance officers might necessarily not be doing exactly the same thing, right? So it's multifaceted, but it's the general concept is that it ensures that people follow whatever rules and regulations that has been set. So everything you guys have said, all correct. So now in this area, what does compliance entail? It entails a wide array of rules, regulations, and ethical standards. Is a fundamental aspect of conducting operations, within the UK and ensure that activities are conducted legally, ethically, and responsibly. Because beyond even the legal part, there's also the ethics, which is why I love the fact that, someone mentioned ethics as well. Even responsibly, there's even like from the use of AI, there's responsible use of AI. Use AI responsibly, ethically, and legally. Don't go and use AI to ask, how do you kill people? How do you do this? So it covers areas, but for the sake of our session today, we'll be covering financial regulations, data protection, AML, and GDPR. Right. What are the essentials if you want to transition or if you want to consider a career in compliance? So the first skill you must have is analytical skills. You have to have the ability to analyze and identify risks associated, with non-compliance and implement measures to mitigate them. So for some of you's industry, risk associated with non-compliance could be fine as high as £500,000, £5 million. We see different news every day about this financial institution being fined for, and KYC or for anti-money laundering and all of that. And sometimes it could even be loss of job for the person. Like it could even be being fined or being jailed. If the directors and owners of companies could be jailed, right? Which is why our role as compliance analysts, compliance professional is very important because we are playing a very key role. We are saving the company from future litigations. We're saving vulnerable people from being abused. So vulnerable people could be people who have their cash in the systems or their money in the financial systems. It could even be care users or care owners. It could be care users or your, what do they call it in the care industry? Your service users, right? Because there's compliance in that area as well. So analytical skills is very important. Problem solving, developing effective solutions to address compliance challenges. Communication, regardless of the role you want to get into, communication skills are very important. So being able to listen actively, being able to present, being able to write very good emails to your clients, to your customers, to your managers, to your directors, very important. Being able to present articulately, being able to talk to your fellow stakeholders and even external stakeholders. So all of these communication skills are very essential if you want to go into the compliance space. So now, regulatory framework. So That's another thing you need to know. You need to familiarize yourself with the specific regulatory bodies and agencies relevant to your field. In the UK, this might include FCA, like some of us mentioned, OFAC, ICO, and the likes. Okay. Another thing you need to do is to get training and education. If you want to, like, survive in this space, you need to be abreast, because anything that has to do with policies, regulations, they're ever changing. Look at what has happened to the immigration policies in the last couple of months. It has just turned everything upside down. So imagine if you were just locked up. When I say locked up, I don't mean like that kind of lock up, but like if you were just like, um if you were just not aware, of what's going on for like 6 months, and you just come back, like you just find out that a lot has gone under the water and you are not even aware, which is why training and education, staying abreast of the industry, the regulations, even when trainings are over, you need to keep, yourself informed. Data protection and privacy measures across all industries, they are there. So long as you are dealing with human being in your industry, there are different data protection. We have HIPAA in the health and care industry. I think that's for USA. I don't know what the UK, but I know GDPR, but I don't know that if I don't know if we have HIPAA in the UK, for those that are in the health and care industry, which is the one that protects you from releasing people's medical records, to just anybody. And then we've got the financial compliance. Financial institutions must have robust AML and CTF measures to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. Okay. So other skills you might need in this space, risk assessment, documentation, and record keeping, very important. In this space, right? In the compliance space, documentation and record keeping is very important. Say, for instance, I remember then they would say, you know, gather information from customers, their address and everything. If you have all this information and you cited it, but it's not in their file, you still get fined, because it's not about what you saw, it's about what they can pick up. So that when they go, because the thing is that governments, and they want to be able to rely on this data that you've captured when something happens and they need it. And if they say, bring this file for this person, I remember then when like NFIU might just, for those that are in Nigeria, NFIU, they might just write to the bank that they need the person's some files. Sometimes it might be EFCC, sometimes it might be, it might be CBN, it might be any of the regulators. They might have an investigation ongoing, right? And it might even be the police that have that investigation ongoing, but they need to be able to rely that, oh, NFIU, should be able to write to bank because they have authority. So even the police can write directly to bank, but, and then they write to the bank that we need to know this person's address. And we know there's no way this person would have opened accounts in the bank without dropping their address. So if you now say, oh, but he told me the address that day, but I didn't put it down, I didn't collect his utility bill. Oh, I collected it, but I didn't collect the evidence. And then you are putting the company, at the risk of being penalized or fined. So documentation and record keeping is extremely important in this space. GDPR as well, understanding the GDPR rules, right, and following the rules, very important. Data protection, very similar to the GDPR I just mentioned. Continuous improvement. If you want to be in this space, you need to keep learning. You need to keep developing yourself. Okay. Financial sanctions and sanctions. You need to understand sanctions, right? Strategic thinking, KYC, AML, the legal industry. The thing is that anyone with keen interest, right, or training or certifications can switch to any career path, right? It's not limited to this. Okay, let's talk about the potential career paths that exist and the average salary, based on READ, KYC analyst, compliance. And these are actually roles that our students have actually gone ahead to get after our boot camps, right, in this field. So compliance analyst, risk manager, financial crime analyst, sanctions officer, AML compliance analyst, data protection specialist, and so much more. So why pursue a career in compliance? I love the fact that some of us are already convinced about the career I want to pursue, but for some others that are not so sure about why a career in compliance is a good choice, right? So one of the reasons why you should consider a career in compliance is the high high demand for compliance professionals. New payments companies, new fintechs, new companies are springing up. And for every of these companies, even the existing ones, they need compliance professionals to keep, for all the reasons we've mentioned, to keep the society sane, to make sure that they adhere to these regulations and prevents being fined or penalized. If you see the weight of fine that's the financial institutions or banks attracts when they don't comply, they are not always in like £100,000. So they are like millions of pounds, right, and dollars for the ones in the US. Okay, so career stability as well. Compliance is an essential function in various industries, right? Ensuring the legality and ethical conduct of businesses. So there's a stability and like there's career progression that is also very possible. So even if you start as a KYC analyst, that could be your start point. And eventually you can also become a chief compliance officer, just like Kabirat, or an MLRO, a what's it called? CRO, chief risk officer, chief compliance officer, and so much more. So even if your starting salary is, not like, or your starting role is maybe say for instance 30K, 40K, that's not the end of the, that's not the end. There are some career paths that the highest you can earn in that role is like 30K. That's like the peak of that career. If you find yourself in those kind of career paths, then it's time to switch. So career paths that promises and offers career progression and opportunities. Okay, diverse career opportunities as well. So the compliance field offers a wide range of career opportunities across sectors as well, right? Global relevance, regardless of where you go to. KYC analysts, AML analysts, compliance analysts, they are all in demand and they do the same thing. The little bit of differences you can see might just be, the regulators or the, but most of this like OFAC and the likes, they all mirror each other. Their policies, their regulations, they all mirror, right, the global ones. Okay, professional growth. Compliance professionals can progress into leadership roles, shaping the compliance culture within organizations and making strategic decisions. Global regulatory trends. So the UK often aligns its regulations with international standards, which is what I just said. So this means that compliance in the UK can be well prepared to work across. So even if you are trained in this course, you are well prepared to work in the US, you are well prepared to work in Dubai and other, you might just need to like do some reading of, do some, which I said, continuous development is very important, right, in this space. So now let's talk about the RQI Careers Compliance Bootcamp, where we provide you with the training that you need to transition and become, a compliance professional, and the practical work experience you need to thrive and roll your sleeves and be able to work from day one, right? And so much more. So let's get to learn. So our approach focuses on practicality, ensuring that you not only grasp the theory, but also learn how to apply it effectively in real world scenarios. And by the end of this boot camp, or by the end of our boot camp, you would have thorough understanding of compliance. You'll be well versed in best practices, and you will also have the confidence to make informed compliance decision. So here are a few Trustpilot reviews. I'm sure we all know what Trustpilot and Google reviews are. We've got 5-star on this platform. So these are like third-party platforms where, our students or people that have passed through our bootcamp are free to visit. You can also go to our page on Trustpilot to see the reviews that have been dropped. Okay, so we have Adedo Kunda who said, my wife shared the RQI careers link with me, and I can say that I have no regrets. The learning experience was great. The CEO Rukayat Alabi and the tutor Lumi and the team are one of the best hands I've ever, seen. So that's for him to mention Lumi, it means it was a part of this bootcamp as well. So Irene says no regrets whatsoever choosing them. It's the best place to learn. Temi says RQI has the best hands, exceptional learning sessions, weekly drop-in sessions, worth your time and money. And Ebibote says, I can't thank RQI Careers enough for their outstanding compliance course, which played a pivotal role in landing my first role in compliance. The course was incredibly well structured, with comprehensive content that bridged theoretical knowledge and practical application seamlessly. The instructor was knowledgeable, approachable, and always willing to go the extra mile, to ensure we fully understand the materials. So RQI didn't just provide training, they provided a stepping stone to my professional success. If you are looking to break into compliance or to enhance your skills, I highly recommend RQI Careers. It was a true game changer for me. Okay, so that's AB, and then we have Anisha Banumula. Um, so my experience with RQI has been exceptional. The team's expertise and personalized support in education, job search, and interview preparation were invaluable. Okay, so Emmanuel says, extremely remarkable experience I had during my bootcamp. The study materials were top notch. Needless to say, the facilitators were very knowledgeable, and the level of learning gotten during the bootcamp helped me to land the job just 6 weeks after completion. RQI careers are the best plug I would recommend to anyone that desires a career change or progression in their career. And that's all we Trustpilot on Google reviews as well, right? We've got great and amazing success stories as well. So feel free to visit these platforms yourself to read more success stories dropped by our students. Right. So talking about our boot camps, what are the things you get in the boot camp? Virtual live training. So you get live training that you can join. So either you are joining from Nigeria, from Ghana, from you know all the parts of the UK as well. You can join us. There's no barrier to being a part of this bootcamp. You can join us from anywhere in the world. Real life scenario. So you get to work on cases just like you would do in the real life, role. Interview preparation. So you get a lot of support for interviews during the bootcamp as well as when the bootcamp is now completely over. Please let's mute ourselves. Is it Talks or who is speaking? Please let's mute ourselves. Okay, so quizzes and competency tests, to test your knowledge, practical case studies, reference for the real life scenarios and projects you work on during the bootcamp, certificate of completion accredited by CPD in the UK, ACCD USA, and we are listed on the UK government as a registered training provider. You get access to our learning management system, which is where we have abundance of resources to prepare you for interviews, right? And where all the recordings for the classes are also available. Okay, post bootcamp alumni support. We're going to get to talk about more about that. But in RQY careers, once you enter and join any of our bootcamps, you're part of the family. You get to continue to enjoy free quarterly certifications. You get to enjoy, right? So much support, monthly webinars, CV optimization, LinkedIn optimization at the end of your bootcamp. Also, final projects and cases to gain experience with. So who can take this course? This course can be taken by this course is ideal for bankers and financial professionals moving into compliance, also foreign trained lawyers. Please, can we mute ourselves? Foreign trained lawyers or ex-bankers, anyone at all seeking a career in compliance, in KYC, in AML, accountants as well who want to have very good compliance knowledge, corporate executives and CEOs of their own businesses, risk managers. But in summary, anyone at all looking to get into compliance can take this course. Okay, so what are the competencies you gain in this bootcamp? You gain comprehensive regulatory knowledge of the UK space, of the UK regulatory space. Our trainer is a dual solicitor. He's been there, he's been qualified in Nigeria and is also qualified here in the UK. And currently, that's as a lawyer, right? However, he also, moved from law to compliance because compliance for him, does it. Also, we've got KYC and AML, right, which is like the foundation and the fundamental, right, in the compliance space. We've got data protection and privacy expertise. We've got GDPR, financial sanctions, risk assessment, and mitigation. So some roles to apply for after the bootcamp. So these are roles that our students have actually gotten a job in after the bootcamp, from AML analyst to compliance analyst, risk analyst, KYC analyst, compliance officer, data protection officer, regulatory affairs specialist, compliance risk manager, policy and procedure analyst, business compliance analyst, KYC quality control analyst, AML investigator, and so much more. We also have the client due diligence, enhanced due diligence, periodic review analysts, and all that. Okay, so let's talk about visa sponsorship. So based on the recently adjusted eligible occupation list, I'm glad to inform you that compliance remains on the list as eligible careers for sponsorship. So we can see code 2419 that says legal professionals not elsewhere classified. So we have a lot of people from our bootcamps that have foreign trained legal background, and by the time they add the compliance here to it, they're able to get compliance related roles, in law firms, in legal company, in law and litigation firms. So you can use that code. We've had people that use that code when they go sponsorship, and then we've got business and financial project management professionals, code 2440. But under it, you can see risk managers also listed. So if you get risk related roles, you can use the code 244, 0. And then legal associates professionals, right? Code 3520. And then we've got 2482, where we have the rest of the compliance and regulatory professionals. So 2482, is also a highly skilled role that you can use, right, for sponsorship as well. Okay. And then we've got probation officer as well. So code 2462, because we've had people finish our bootcamp and actually got jobs in those titles. Right. So these are the codes that we've just seen: 2440, 2482, 2462. So what's most important when you're looking for sponsorship is how you position yourself. When you're trying to position yourself for visa sponsorship now, based on the new rule, you need to use job titles that are clearly on the lists, for your positioning. Emphasize your regulatory understanding, your due diligence processes, and your compliance reporting. Okay. So, talking about success stories that we've achieved after the end of our bootcamp, we've had some of our students land roles as KYC analysts, data auditor, principal auditors, customer service specialists, compliance officers, client due diligence officers, and so much more. So we've also had success stories of our students who got jobs as probate officers or moved from support worker to onboarding advisor, right? And so much more. So these are just a few success stories, right? And these are some job titles as well that some of our alumni have secured after the bootcamp, from KYC analyst, compliance manager, finance advisor, AML investigator. And again, the experience you're also bringing from back home also play a very huge role in what will work best for you. So when you're acquiring new skills, understanding where you're coming from as well, your background, and using that to your advantage, in terms of maybe where you even apply to and what you even call your job titles, is important. So at this point, I'm going to call on our guest speaker for today. We've got a fantastic person in the house, Theophilus, currently working as a client due diligence advisor in a top UK bank. Is a foreign trade lawyer who transitioned into compliance, and his decision to join the UK Compliance Bootcamp was based on his passion for assisting firms in navigating complex regulations. It's been an amazing experience so far, and the course equipped him with the skills relevant to his new role. So Theophilus, if you are there, first of all, thank you for accepting to join us today in this session. Appreciate you, So Theophilus, if you're there, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Mr. Rookie. Thank you for everything so far, like putting together this stuff. Because even before I joined your cohort, like I'd heard of a couple of people who sort of like passed through this cohort and they've been able to like transition into like higher roles. So I would say it's something that has like a very tremendous impact on, a number of people who have been looking to navigate the job landscape in the UK. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for that. So can you share your experience in the boot camp as well as, how it's facilitated you landing your current role?
Okay, thank you very much. So I would say the boot camp, first of all, sort of like widen my horizon into the possibilities that were available in the UK because I think one thing I've personally experienced about the United Kingdom is that if you don't find the right information, you might be stuck in a bubble. You might be stuck in a very narrow way of doing things, and you would not be able to take advantage of the other opportunities that are just there, honestly. So I would say the bootcamp sort of like widened my horizon, gave me more perspective into what I could do here in the UK. Because like you said, I'd qualified as a lawyer before moving to the UK, and my goal, what I just thought I could do was to maybe like write the SQE1, write the SQE2, qualify as a lawyer, and it was like seeming really difficult. Plus, the kind of person I am, the traditional mode of legal practice doesn't necessarily excite me. Legal compliance is what actually gets me, which is what I was doing before I even left Nigeria. So I would say the bootcamp opened me to opportunities, exposed me to what I could lay my hands on, gave me options, and helped me make a very like informed decision. And of course, like ultimately is the major reason why I'm in the role I am today. In fact, one fun fact is that at my interview, before I landed this role, the person who was interviewing me obviously had, heard a lot of interviewed like a lot of people. He had heard a lot of people say the same thing, like repeat the same thing. But he said the major reason, and I'm being extremely honest when I say this, the major reason why he decided to like call me for the interview was because I had dedicated myself to self-learning, and he referenced RKY careers. Like because I did this particular boot camp, he said that was like the major reason why he decided to talk to me at the interview. So, you never can tell what would open you up to the opportunity. So I would say just take all the advantage you can. But yeah, that was precisely what he said. So yes, I would say it opened me up to opportunities and ultimately has, you know, aided me to land this current role that I currently have. Yeah.
Wow. I know you mentioned that, and I've been itching to hear more about it. Like was the person an alumni? I know you mentioned that when I congratulated you on LinkedIn, I was like, okay, was the person an alumni, or what? Like from what angle did you mean? Because I know that in this space we are so many. I've heard of people that didn't get a job because they said they did training in some places. However, the fact that the RKY careers name and brand opened doors for you, and you got the interview and you were able to prove yourself, it means that you've even gone ahead to be actually a great ambassador. So next time that person sees RKY careers, for instance, on people's CV, they won't rule it out or rule them off. I don't know if you get my points.
Yeah, I
Because I've
get
met
it.
so many people that did trainings in some places, maybe not compliance, in some other courses, that when they get the job, they are unable to perform on the job. In fact, some of them, they not only lose the job, they make other people that did training in that place, they make all of them, they make them like everybody lose the job because they didn't, pull their weight there. So the fact that, first of all, our name is not blacklisted out there, the fact that you train with RKY careers is an advantage to you and not a disadvantage, is actually like a very big one. Secondly, you got the interview and you were able to prove yourself at the interview, which is also another positive, because next time they see another person that trained with RKY careers, they would definitely be giving the person a go because you didn't disappoint. And that's because, first of all, we've trained you very well. You're able to prove yourself. And I would say a very big congratulations to you. First of all, a big thank you to you as well for being a great ambassador of RKY careers at that interview. Okay, so do you want to share a little bit more? I mean, guys, if you have questions for David, start asking him in the chat box. Do you want to share a little bit more about how did you get any form of support beyond the training, in the boot camp? Did you feel supported, right, beyond the training? Because some people always say, it's just 5 weeks. Is 5 weeks even enough? Because we have some other courses that are like 3 months, intense, Saturday, Sunday, back to back. But this particular course, what I explain to people is that it's not as intense as those courses. And what you really need to learn, you're not learning sophisticated tools, like in data or something like that. The 5 weeks is enough for you to actually be grounded. Right. So do you want to share a little bit more about that in terms of the support you get even after the boot camp and,
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So, being sort of like a very adventurous person, I would say I got my first interview. And this is something that people have to like bear in mind. So it's because the job market is like a little bit crazy right now. So, I had to do like a number of interviews before I finally like landed my role, which is where learning how to, conduct yourself during interview. This is where like it comes into play. So I got my first interview before I finished the cohort, actually. So, because as I started the cohort, I just sort of like saw the course, the major tasks we're supposed to do, and I crafted the CV around it. And I got my first interview before the end of the cohort. And I remember I called Lumi. I'm not very sure if he's on this call right now, but I would say Lumi was like a very, very instrumental part of. I mean, even though I didn't get that role, right, but Lumi really assisted me, and what the things he showed me, they were like a stepping stone to my subsequent interviews till I finally landed the role. Yeah, so I would say the support after the training was there. There's this lady as well, Onidamola. I know we spoke one evening where she like sort of like gave me tips on how to scale interview, and I know that frequently I would see calls about interview support sessions, which is an avenue where RKY uses to sort of like tutor people, teach them how to like navigate through interview sessions. I mean, personally, I didn't attend all those interview sessions, but obviously, like that's not your fault. That's my own fault. Yeah, but those the support was there. Those resources were there. Uh yeah. So I would say, yeah, the support was really there, and I know even like in the in my dashboard, the dashboard, there were some pre-recorded videos for interview support as well. I remember watching those videos repeatedly over and over, like how to answer interview questions, all of that stuff. And each interview I attended, I could see the relevance of what I had um, watched in those sessions, and they sort of like helped me till I ultimately landed this role. So yeah.
beautiful. Thanks for sharing. So, um, lastly, I think we have a question from one of the attendees. Can you walk us through, hi Theo, can you walk us through your day-to-day and responsibilities, a day in your life as a CDD advisor?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So as a CDD advisor, what I do, because the bank I'm with, they have like a fintech that I was seconded to, and they just it's sort of like a place where people can, save money, open a bank account, because the bank has like, other bank accounts for business accounts and individuals as well. So what I do is essentially onboard clients. So before clients are maybe giving the loan, or before clients are made customers of the bank, we do onboarding checks for them, and what it entails is essentially just going through their means of ID, although they're like very sophisticated tools for all of those things, but checking their who they say they are, looking at their background, where they are from, and allocating risk factors to them. If they are from somewhere like Iran or Nigeria, like for instance, we do a heightened level of due diligence of them. Then, for politically exposed persons as well, there are measures we take. We just need to ensure that the people who are being onboarded into the bank, it is safe for the bank to actually onboard them, because if the bank, onboards the wrong kind of person, the bank might be fined and all of that stuff. And also sort of like paying attention to details to see any financial crime typology that might come up. with someone trying to like apply to the bank. Maybe the application is fraudulent or they are not who they say they are, because we have like very sophisticated means. Scammers use synthetic identity. They can get someone else's identity. They might upload the wrong video to just sort of enter the bank and access the resources of the bank. So essentially, it's called like the first line of defense, really, just ensuring that we onboard the right people and that the checks are in place. And even while they are customers as well, we just want to ensure that they don't have like any unusual activity on their accounts and they are still maintaining the current risk allocation that we have given to them. So essentially, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think we have another question, and that says, would you say that being a foreign trained lawyer gave you a leverage?
Yeah, it did actually, because as a lawyer, I think one thing about lawyers is that you get comfortable with regulations, like reading regulations, understanding the spirit, the intent behind any kind of regulation you come across. And so for my role, there are like a number of regulations that govern us: the money laundering regulation, the Proceeds of Crime Act, and of course, like they're like industry specific guidelines for banks. Now we have to like align with the GMLSG and just a number of regulatory requirements. So understanding those regulatory requirements and contextualizing them into your day-to-day, like not many people can do that. So you would find like I find like some of my colleagues who don't have that legal background, for instance, anything relating to regulation, they are not really keen to hop on it. But it's not so much of a problem for them because the ones who are lawyers among us might have like drawn up internal guidelines. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. But you don't, yeah, okay, you're asking because you are interested but you are not a lawyer. No, that wouldn't be a challenge, as long as like you are very like open to learn. You get my point? I think that's like the major thing. You're open to learn. You can read and write essentially, because at the end of the day, regulations are just about it's pretty much just English and stuff. And when you get on the role, obviously, like you'll be given like training guidelines and pretty much all that stuff. So yeah, but for landing the role, for like applying, your legal background could be a strong suit. But even if you're not a lawyer, there's a reason why you are in RKY. So I'm sure they would properly like, so the tasks you will be given, the training you'll be given, is also something, because at the end of the day, employers they just care about your experience, to be very honest. So it's how you're able to like frame your experience and all that. Yeah, so whatever you learn here would be very relevant for you when you finally hop on the role. So not being a lawyer isn't a disadvantage. Yeah.
Right. So let me add to that, So in fact, I think I'm even surprised that because most people that are like legal background people from that join our boot camps, they rarely even like apply to the bank ones. Most of them, end up in the law firms, as compliance analysts. Right. So it's not even like there's no, and we also have people that don't have that legal background that also end up in law firms as compliance analysts. So I think it was most important, just like you said, is your experience and how unique they've come from the start. And one of the things we do for you when you are done with the boot camp is that we optimize your CV to project you, and even making your previous experiences to be tailored to emphasize the transferable skills that are necessary for this role in those previous roles as well. So no, you don't need to be a lawyer to be a compliance person, right? And you don't need to be a lawyer to work in a law firm. Neither do you need to be a banker or previous banker to work in a financial institution as well. So like you can see, it wasn't a banker. I don't know if you worked in a bank though. It was your previous role in compliance in your previous role in Nigeria. Was it in the bank as well?
No, it was in a law firm.
Exactly. So he wasn't a banker before, worked in a law firm, but he was employed into a bank here. So I think, there's no limits as to what you can do. Just learn and be committed to it. Okay. So someone says, last question, do you have to prepare and present reports daily, periodically? And could you expand on this aspect as well?
Yeah, so for my role, um, Yes, reports are being prepared, but I don't do so much of reports, to be honest, because the tools that we use, the software we use, they are pretty much like really sophisticated that they auto-generate most reports. So I don't have to like do a lot of reports, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. So most of those tools we have their dashboards where you see the reporting
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah, yeah. Most of
And
those tools, you just download the report because they're already generated.
okay, so guys, there you have it. Congratulations once again, Theophilus. Thank you for coming to share your experience on the boot camp and your new role as well. I'm super happy to hear it, and I'm super glad that you are also a great ambassador of the brand. Continue to be a great ambassador of the brand. Continue to develop yourself as well. Continue to shine in the workplace, and we are always here to support you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome. So, guys, there you have it. So, in our trainings, you get, live training, you acquire skills and techniques, you'd, right, get your CV done for you and LinkedIn of you. You can hear that he said did a number of interviews, right? When you get the CV we do for you, right, the number of, we're in this space where a lot of people are struggling to get interviews, right? But having those interviews, having your LinkedIn optimized and showcasing your skill set and having employers and recruiters reach out to you in the links in your LinkedIn is actually what would get you the job. Even if you do training and your CV does not reflect that you can now do this and that, you're likely not to get called. In fact, you won't even get called. Say, for instance, you're a foreign trained lawyer, you've done compliance training and your CV does not show it. How would they know that you have RKY careers training? You can hear what he said about the fact that the RKY careers compliance bootcamp detailing what we taught him as well on his CV, got him the interview, and he proved himself at the interview. You also get support with interview preparation. You deliver projects, you get access to our LMS. You heard him say also that all the pre-recorded previous interview prep that we've done also helped him, as well as other resources. Every month as well, we have monthly webinars where different people come to teach us different things. This month, and for instance, we are talking about job application strategies and how our students can leverage the September surge to land their job in the next 30 days. We also have UK work reference that you get, from passing through the boot camp, globally recognized certificate of completion, an opportunity to position yourself for high-paying visa sponsorship and other globally relevant roles. And you get access to post-boot camp trainings for alumni community. Every quarter, right, we train our students on extra certifications that they need to stand out in the job market. In the first quarter, it was AI. Second quarter, it was cybersecurity. This quarter for is Python. All our students are getting a free masterclass in Python that will also be certified, right? By the time an employer is looking at your CV and they're seeing that you are a compliance professional with AI master certification, cybersecurity certification, and now Python certification, plus all the work experience and all those things, I'm sure that it will surprise you why our students or why we have so many success stories. It's because of what we give to our students at no extra cost. Because we know that the market is about what more you can bring to the table. And for us, we want, because the more success stories you get for us, it's not just about collecting your money, is our own success, is how we track our own success as well. Right. So even if you are done, you don't want to know how much you invest in our alumni community. That's, people that finished training a year ago, 2 years ago, they're still benefiting from the fact that they enrolled in RKY careers at some point or the other. They get monthly certificate, monthly sessions, weekly interview prep or bi-weekly interview preparation sessions, support on the job. We have a lot of people that when they land the job and they get stuck, they're able to call the trainer or they're also able to, join our weekly or bi-weekly sessions to get clarity. So for all these things I've said, the value of this training should actually be £2,000. In fact, companies, that are like UK companies that do this, I mean, we're a UK company as well, but other UK companies that do this service of training people, if you see their price list, I don't know if you guys have gone to check price list of all this boot camp in the UK. I'm not saying Nigerian owned though. I'm talking about like proper UK, you will see £7,000. You pay for 1 full year. Some with when you get a job, you pay them for 2 years. That's when you now start paying them. You are tied to them. What am I trying to say? We know that the people we serve, right? They love they are multitasking, they are learning, they're working and everything. And we've made it affordable as well. So that, it doesn't like what's it called? It's not like you won't feel it when you take out whatever the discounted amount is, right? But we've made it discounted. But before we go to the discounted amounts for the course, right, look at the profiles I have here. Meet Stephanie and Ademola. Stephanie also joined our bootcamp in 2022. No, I think maybe 2023. I can't remember the months, but as you can see, you can see that right after our bootcamp in 2024, she landed her next role as Carrie on sale as a compliance monitoring analyst. Last time I spoke with her, but we had a student who had an interview in this company, and I'd not spoken to her in like 2 years, and I just randomly called her, right? That, oh, do you still work here? And she was like, oh yes, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help. And she was like, oh, I don't even know if you've seen my new, like, I have a new, like, managerial jobs have been chasing me, or in like, I've done a lot of interviews, and I'm even at the last stage of one. There are even some I didn't take because for me, I feel it's not, but managerial roles have been chasing me. And that's the career progression I was talking about. Someone that came into compliance through RQI careers, currently in their desired role, and even having opportunity to move up as well. We also have Demola on the right-hand side as well. He did our training in 2023, and right after that, he landed a role as, RPC as an AML analyst. Right. We have so many of our students like this in their desired roles, making us proud, right, out there in the markets. So having said that, for you to also achieve these success stories, we've made it affordable, and the discounted amount for this course is £599. It's just for 5 weeks, Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m. The next cohort starts 13th of September. And the best part is that you can pay in installments using Klarna, ClearPay, PayPal, and Pay Later in 3, right? And the link to pay, is in the chat box. If you are joining from Nigeria or Africa, do not worry, we have a special rate for people in Nigeria. Chat with the numbers whose links will be dropped in the chat box to get the discounted rates. And you can also pay in installment as well. Secure your slots. And one of the things, for those that are in Nigeria that are wondering, oh, is this for me? We have a lot of people that join our courses from Nigeria. And you know what? Most of these fintech companies and these payment solution companies abroad, they're looking for people that have UK compliance knowledge to give the job. I think we had about 2 or 3 students that I remember vividly, then that joined from Nigeria. They invested and they were able to get a fintech company that was paying them in pounds, right? Hire them for roles, even from Nigeria. There was another guy that got a £1,000 per day due diligence contract. He was still in Nigeria. He was actually coming to the UK. That's why I did the training, but he was still in Nigeria in his previous role. And before he moved, I don't know if it was Grant Thornton or I don't know, one of the big companies, and they engaged him. They wanted to do some due diligence for some companies, and they have the contracts, right? And I think maybe the companies are based in Africa, and they got a 1,000 per day job before he even moved to the UK. So what am I trying to say? Regardless of where you are, there are opportunities for you. So long as you can prove that you have that you have a better advantage, safe, than others that don't have the UK certification. Another one I want to talk about is the Excel class, which is just £50 that everybody needs across all the boot camps to add to their skill sets. This is just £50, and next is also starting on the 13th of August. September. There are so many people I know as well that have skill sets that are worth, £60, £50,000, £60,000. But what is stopping them from landing that desired role is the fact that they can't do nice presentations to project and communicate their findings, or they can't work on simple data. As a compliance professional, you would need, to work on sometimes spreadsheets, transaction monitoring and all of that. So if you are looking to just be 100% complete, you can also enroll for this courses 6 weeks as well, Saturday and Sunday. Is it that you can do it now, and you can do it in another cohort. But Excel and PowerPoint is actually an in-demand skill that you do not want to, not have really. So at this point, I'm just going to introduce you very briefly to our facilitator, Lumi, that you have heard and you've read about in the success stories I was reading. Is a dual qualified solicitor, right? Is a compliance professional. It's got loads of certifications, and it's going to be sharing with us, right, a little bit about. It's going to be giving us a sneak peek about what you get in the compliance, bootcamp, and what you'll be gaining from him, and the RQI team in the next 5 weeks. So Lumi, if you're there.
Yes, I am. Thanks, you. thanks everybody for attending, and also thanks to Theo for giving your success story and for encouraging people that want to jump in. So thanks for trusting us and thanks for coming to our masterclass. And we're just going to have an overview, which is like a taster session of what you guys will get. So I'm sure you've all had some form of KYC being done on you because you've had a bank account. So one way or the other, you are also involved in this industry. And the only thing is that you are also on the other side of the KYC AML side. What our program does is to help you to reflect on the skills you have. What are the transferable skills you have? Because when I came into the UK, my first job was really terrible. I had to be doing all these low paying jobs, and nobody sat me down to tell me what I needed to do, how I needed to do my CV. That's another big story on its own. How I needed to apply for jobs, what to say at the interviews and what not to say. And also, as Theo pointed out, the regulations that you need to have. What are the things you need to know to be able to step into an AML, KYC role, GDPR role, or sanctions role? It's not that difficult, but sometimes you just need someone to guide you through it. And it's not as if it's that easy. It's easy if you make it easy for yourself. Nobody's coming to save anybody, but if you put in the time and the effort, you will be rewarded. The roles in KYC, AML, GDPR, and sanctions are mostly in banking, law firms, oil and gas firms, and all this real estate and everywhere. So one way or the other, it cuts across a very broad array of industries. So you are covered, you have access to a lot of jobs. Everybody wants to onboard customers. They want to check the risk the customer poses and all that. So your job is always in high demand. Now, one good thing about what we do here at RKY, which is different from the rest, is that we give you the regulatory knowledge, we give you the practical skills, and then we also give you 12-month support. So you can reach out to anybody on whatever program you are in RKY and you get full support. Assuming you had an interview on maybe Monday, yeah, you can book a slot, 2 slots before your interview and have a mock interview and just put yourself under some pressure. So this is different from what the other people do. We have limited spaces. We don't just plan to, have very large cohorts and all that. Our cohorts are limited. So we try and make sure that we give quality as well. And if you look at our pricing over the next 12 months, nothing beats it out there. So there is no way you get that program for 12 months support. Mixing and blending with professionals and all that, and also embellishing the skills you have. I think it's a very good deal for you guys as well. So if I'm going to break down the courses, when you are looking at KYCs, there are some things you need to know as a KYC person. You need to know the pathway. So it's no longer you just identifying your customers and verifying. It's more of a risk management process. And this is what all the laws and regulations are pointing to. The Section 33, Regulation 33 of the Money Laundering Regulation 2017, Recommendation 10 of the FATF also says that we have to perform due diligence in certain scenarios. And it's a regulatory obligation, so we have to, and they have to employ people to do all these things. You need to know who are the directors and the controllers of an entity. You need to understand what an entity is, and you need to understand the players in that entity. You also need to be able to understand the structure and the documentation as well. We will take you through that as well. You need to understand how to perform due diligence using all the sites and software and everything. You need to understand how to use the company's house. Okay, who are the directors of Tesco? You should be able to identify that. Who are the shareholders of Tesco? That should be easy for you. You need to be able to get their documents online and wherever, perform OSINT, and be able to be very effective and efficient. In fact, our mission is to turn you into a Google Pro as well. Then, when you move to the next module, which is the transaction monitoring module, you need to be able to understand what are the red flags in transaction monitoring. You need to be able to identify when you think there is human trafficking involved or somebody is receiving money from high-risk jurisdictions. What's the reason for that transaction? How do you write your rationale? How do you write a good rationale for the to escalate it to the police? Assuming you have to write a suspicious activity report, how do you go about it? How is it going to be clear? How is it going to align with the standards expected by the authorities? So those are the things. And also, even if you are looking at it from different angles, like a business analyst, AML person, you need to be able to know how to tune your AML tool. Assuming you are using Actimize, Mantas, Hummingbird, or any one of these things, what are the rules you need to select and create for your firm? You need to funnel these things through a filter, which would be set by your AML business analyst. So it's not just you looking at it from one angle, you can be looking at it from an IT angle. So it's very interesting, transaction monitoring as well. Sanctions also, you need to understand sanctions. You need to understand how to review sanction issues. You need to understand the prohibited transactions you can't get involved in. You need to know how to freeze documents and freeze accounts, and also how to report to the authorities. You need to understand OFSI, which is the UK Sanctions Authority. You need to understand OFAC, which is the US Sanctions Authority, United Nations, EU, and all the other ones. So you just need to really understand them in order to protect your firm, your oil and gas company, your law firm, your bank, or whatever. You need to understand those things. Sanctions, penalties are really, really heavy. I don't know if you guys are aware of the BNP Paribas sanction, which was 9 billion, 8.9 billion. So, it's a very sensitive area and you need to know what you're doing. We are going to hold your hands and show you how easy it is to understand it. There is no big deal there. And then also GDPR. GDPR is the new gold in town. Data is very important. You need to be able to understand how to comply with GDPR, how to build your GDPR program, how to make sure that you are dealing with all your subject access requests on time, how to implement your Article 5 and all those things. You need to understand your responsibilities as a data processor and a data controller. You need to understand the kind of contracts you need to have with them. So you just need to understand, what you need to do as a privacy officer and all that. So these are some of the things we've packaged for you guys, and we've studied the market and we've noticed these are the emerging trends, and they also qualify for sponsorship as well. So some people want sponsorship, some people just want a better job and all that. So we also have interview preparation as well, whereby even after you finish your foundation phase, we have 2 Thursdays every month, whereby we are discussing questions, interviews, preparing people for interviews, and some people will go for the mock challenge, whereby you sit down and we just apply a little bit of pressure on you. If you want to, it's voluntary and all that. So this continues to embellish the kind of skills you have, and it continues to give you confidence. We are just here to support you. We're not saying we're going to break your head and put everything into your head, but we'll do our best. Our 12 months program beats everything out there in the market because nobody does it. We've just shattered the market. So if you look at 12 months and you're paying maybe $599, $600 for 12 months, and I'm sure we still have people that have been coming back to us after the 12-month program. So we are just creating a culture of financial crime compliance. And that's what we're trying to do at RKY. So hopefully this information helps you, and it will help you to make a decision to join one of the leading IT companies and training companies, IT and compliance companies in the UK. Thanks for having me, and over back to you. Can help with some questions as well.
Hey, so guys, if you have any question for our facilitator, please feel free to drop. You've heard about his own journey as well into compliance, right? How he landed his first role, after moving to the UK and, all of that. So here a little bit more about companies where our students have landed job. I'm super proud of where our students, have landed job. We've got students in Morgan, Stanley, JP Morgan, HSBC, Santander, right, Barclays, and so much more. Right. And yeah. So guys, if you are still sitting on the fence, I'm going to be asking you this question now, right? What is stopping you? So what's stopping you guys? I would like to know what's stopping you from securing your slots in the chat box. What is stopping you from taking that step to secure your slots, so you can share your success stories, so you can move from, not knowing exactly what to do, or uncertainty, or, from support worker to, right, where you really want to be. Okay, so somebody says, are there any certifications required or recommended for compliance roles? So for you to get started, experience is always prioritized, because the thing is that with experience, right, you can get a job without certification and then work, because the thing is compliance is quite broad and there are different certification bodies for the different specialties within compliance. So you don't want to start studying, and they are not cheap as well. You don't want to start studying towards a big certification where eventually maybe the first role you will get is taking you in another direction as well. So right, there are so many there are so many recommendations, right? But starting with, practical work experience is always good. And our courses also give you certification, right? CPD UK certification, which is highly recognized as well in the UK. In fact, we have some people that join this course and it's their companies that pay for them through their annual continuous development requirements. Right. So how much does it require to secure your slot? So the cost is $5.99 on the current discounts. And to secure your slots, you can use either Klarna to pay 3 months, or pay later to pay 3 to about 12 months. I don't know, but that would depend on the 3 to 12 months is always like require a little bit more documentation or so. But 3 months, 4 months, I think ClearPay takes 4 months installments. And if you click on the link we've shared with you, you can go to our checkout page and pick the one that suits you, and then you follow through to secure your slot. So I would say to secure your slot today, if you're using Klarna, you will need about $199. And if you're securing your slot today using ClearPay, you will need about $166. Right. So and then they will take the rest, like I think every month or so after that. Okay, so that I hope that answers your question. Between data analysis and compliance, which one do you think is next bootcamp? I think I'm reading. Which one do you think an accountant should go for? I think it depends really on what you want your next role to be, right? What would your previous experience be? What would you want your next role to be? That would be what would determine what you want, what you use to fill that gap. If you find out what you want your next role to be, then you know what the gap is missing. If you want to be a finance analyst, for instance, in the next couple of months, I would say, okay, go for data analyst, right? So that you can actually, learn the analytical skills to add to the finance background or to the accounting background. But if you want to be a finance compliance manager, or you want to be in the compliance space, I would say, accounting plus compliance is the perfect one. So it depends on what you are aiming to achieve. And if you already know analytical tools like Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL, you can do compliance because there's no knowledge that is always lost, You just need to keep adding something to give you a special advantage in the job market. The good thing is that our data analysis class starts today, 5 to 7 p.m. So if that's the one you want to go for, you can quickly secure your slots for that as well. Okay, so for Adeyemi, how many weeks or months is this bootcamp going to last? It's just 5 weeks, 5 Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m. It's not as intense as the rest of the bootcamp because the roles are different, and what you do on the job in the two roles are different as well. What you do in the job in the is different really. So it's 5 weeks for the class, but the ongoing support is for over 12 months, just like Lumi has mentioned. After September 13th, the next cohort will be about 6 weeks time, or 7 weeks from that day, actually. 6 weeks from September 13th. Okay. So that would be like October, November. Okay. Yeah, so you can also secure your slots now and start the next cohorts. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you can start the course. You can pay today to secure your slot against the next cohort. So if you start 13th, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next cohort would be October 18th or 25th. So it's not November, it's October.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry for Good afternoon. Sorry for disturbing. I was not able to drop a message. So I just want to ask, because I've tested you before on WhatsApp concerning course for a beginner. Like I have no idea or zero idea in tech, but I just want to start the course. Like if there's any course available for a beginner to start,
To be
and how
honest,
with payment
all our
and how payment is
courses,
going to be made, please.
right? So for the payment, I think I just finished mentioning that now. All our courses are beginner friendly. It depends on the one you want. We have courses in project management, business analysis, compliance, KYC, right? But it depends on the one that interests you or that's, So yeah, the one that interests you, they are all beginner friendly. You don't need to have experience in those fields before you start. But your choice should now depend on your interest, capacity, and your background. Which one aligns the most with your previous background, right? So that's what would determine. But they are all beginner friendly. So what would you say is your previous
Okay.
experience? What was your previous experience in?
As I said I don't have any experience in tech or anything.
So you don't have any experience at all in any job?
No, presently now I'm a support worker, so just
Before
looking for a
support
way to
work,
transition.
before
What do you say,
support,
please?
before support work, what was your previous experience in?
I was in school then.
Right. So you're a fresh graduate.
Yeah.
Right. So to be honest, I think you can choose any of the career paths that suits your interest. What did you
Yeah.
study?
Political science.
Right. So I think you can choose anyone really, because your courses, do not point in any particular place that I would have said, okay, maybe you should go this way. So anyone you choose, just compliance is what we've talked about today now. If compliance interests you, enroll for compliance, right? And I don't know if you get my points.
Yeah, like I have more interest in project management, so I'm just looking for a course for a big and for beginners. Like,
Yeah, so our course is for beginners as well in project management, and it starts today. It starts from scratch. Everybody that joined our course, they are not project managers already, because if they are, they won't be joining a boot camp to gain experience and all of that. So if project management is the one for you, you want to secure your slots, because class starts in 2-3 hours and it starts from scratch. That's why it's 4 months, because we take you from the scratch starts,
okay.
to when you now become a pro.
Okay. So how do I like inquiry payment and how do I make payments?
So it's
Because I
also
dropped a message to you on WhatsApp. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know if
also
you
$5.99 and the link is still the same link. So click on this link. When you click on the link in the chat box, the one that ends with pay, you see the choice. You pick your choice course and then you go ahead to secure your slot.
Yeah, the problem at that now I can't open the chat. The thing is saying something went wrong. So I don't know.
So which of our numbers did you chat on WhatsApp?
I don't know because it was my Nigerian number I used.
Okay, so send us a DM on Instagram then, and then do you have Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, send us DM on Instagram and we
Okay.
can
My name is
send.
Toyosi though. So in case I send you, just say Toyosi that spoke to you today.
All right,
Is that
no
fine?
worries.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. But the class starts today, so you want to secure your slots as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so let's take the rest of the questions. Can we pay now but start class later? Yes, I said you can. How do you secure for the next cohort? By making the deposits. But when you now make the deposit, the email you'll be sending to us specify that's not this cohort, the next cohort. Although this next cohort is September 13th. So if you're not paying for September, you are paying for October. Okay. Okay, so I think I have a very long question. Hello, Rukayat, and both supporting uncles. Thank you for your time. And this very insightful session. Did I say something about getting reference from RQY? Would that be able to support queries if one truly did the training? And is there an avenue for an internship, sort of like an opportunity to practice what is being taught. Yeah, so that's what you're getting experience for. That's what you're getting the reference for the practice. So you get to work on projects and cases, like real world cases, right? And for that, you would get referenced, right? That experience you had working on those cases can be verified, so sort of like an internship. So if that's your question, the answer is yes. Okay. What can one do if unable to make it to a class where you have a work on a Saturday shift? And that's what takes me to the LMS I spoke about earlier, which is our learning management system. So you get a two-in-one experience. You get to join live classes, and you also get to binge watch on recordings of these live classes, right? So if you miss a class, the recordings will be uploaded within 48 hours. So latest on Tuesday of that same Saturday, the classes would be up for you to watch and do anything that you need to do before the next class. Okay, so it's really friendly and flexible, and you don't really, yeah. So thank you very much, ma'am, and Mr. Lumi. I'm in the ESG space. I'm looking to scale up in holistic risk management, climate and business risk in high-paying sectors like finance and O&G. Which of your programs would you advise I go for? And what is the price and duration if you already haven't mentioned? So the question I'll ask you now is, what experience do you have? Because the thing is that in our boot camps, they are an enabler. Apart from helping you to transition to the career path of your choice, they also facilitate your transition. So some people, for instance, in our data analysis class, they come with HR experience, they come with accounting experience, they come with customer service experience. They add data analysis to this respectively, and they get to position themselves for different roles. In fact, you have people that come with cybersecurity experience, and then they add data analysis to this, and they're able to position themselves, and they will now get the job in the real field they've been trying to get a job in because they added tech to it. So my question to you is, what experience do you have already for this field? It might be difficult for you to get training that will prepare you for climate and business risk management. I don't know if you get my point.
Yes. I'm sorry, can I answer that immediately?
Yeah, go on.
Yes, my experience is within sustainability analytics, so that's pretty much data analytics in a way, because that's what I do day to day.
So you're already a data analyst.
So yes, the basic to intermediary data analytics.
In the ESG space?
Yes.
Already?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you want to learn climate and business risk management?
Oh no, no. So I think for RQI, my interest or your main concern for me would be business risk management. You can leave the climate aside. I will fix that myself.
All right. Okay, Lumi has his hand up. Lumi wants to give it a go.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, it's quite interesting. You're already a data analytics person, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Have you thought about AML data analytics, where you be helping to understand the information, the data from customer transactions, and that will now help you to build systems that will help to identify anomalies, That means you'll be segmenting data and all that. You might also be dealing with legacy systems and all that, migration and all those kind of things.
So the bulk of my current role is what you said, reporting regulations and yes, rules and regulations of the ESG space. I genuinely don't want to go too deep into data science, data engineering and all of that. So I'm just trying to niche down, but without going. I'm not interested in being a front-end developer or anything like that.
Okay, so would you like to do compliance whereby you are investigating people and
Yes, that sounds very much like what I might be interested in. Business accounting in addition with, so it's accounting in addition with regulations, and just being able to be a very so highly sought after risk manager in any sector.
Okay, I get you. Risk. Okay, yeah, I get you. We can do that in compliance if you want. We cover AML, KYC, sanctions, and GDPR. And we are quite flexible. If you bring a new topic, we're always up for the challenge as well. So you have 12 months of flexibility if you think about it. So that's what you get if you decide to join us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Right. So what it's trying to
You're
say,
welcome.
like, is that the compliance, career path is, an option for you, where that's what we cover: KYC, AML, GDPR, financial crime, and sanctions. However, with regards to you getting job in your industry or the industry of choice, it's about positioning on your CV. It's not really about, what you now know only. It's about the experience you are bringing, as well, the industry you've worked, and how you now put it. So if you're trying to position yourself for risk management related roles, just like I said, in terms of what you get from us, we are happy to position you, the role, your experience with us is quite flexible, so long as it's something within what you learn. So some of our students will finish and say, I want to position myself in the data protection space. I want to position myself for KYC, AML, or just I want risk because I know that is, the part of this training that suits where I'm going next. So the strategic positioning is now what would determine what you would attract as well in terms of opportunities. So I don't know if that explains it as well.
Yes, it does. 100%. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So guys, the next cohort for this course is 13th of September. If you are here to secure your slots, please do so now to enjoy the current discounts. Registration ends, the week of the class, and to talk about other things that I've got on my slide before we call it a day. As RKY Careers, like I said at the beginning, we also support people who are trying to start their own businesses or turn their idea to business through our business coaching program, where we cover marketing and growth strategies, authority, positioning and thought leadership, and so much more, really. And the next course for that, I think, is in October. We are in the 4th or 5th cohort of the current cohort as well. And yeah, we've got the podcast, and like we said, you can pay in installments. Okay, so I think we have another question. Let's take a break to take that question really quick. I have experience in AML as onboarding as Deutsche Bank, Luxembourg. However, I took a 2 years break. This I understand is too long in this industry. Where would you advise I start from? Beginner to advance, or a refresher course, because I'm based in France and I'm bilingual. Okay, I think Lumi would like to take that question because I see a lot of advantages, to be honest. You got like a very good company on your CV, you are bilingual, which actually positions you for a very, which positions you as a very unique talent, meaning that you can position yourself for jobs that some people that, are not bilingual cannot. You've got douche already on your CV. If you're trying to position yourself in any country, all you need to do is to remove the exact location of that Luxembourg, and, you can be douche anywhere. Or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but right. So, but let me go ahead and take the question.
Yeah, thanks you. So yes, I suspect that maybe you worked on part of the Luxembourg, one of those big projects, the AML remediation project. So it's very similar to what you'll be doing here as well. So I don't think you should start from beginner. I think you should just jump in and continue from where you are and just align yourself to the UK AML regulations and everything. It's not going to be difficult. So that's exactly what we do here. Maybe people that are coming in from different jurisdictions, we bring them up to speed with what they need to know here to get a job. Some people have dealt with EFCC in the past. Some people have dealt with FBI in the past. Now, what you are dealing with now is the NCA. Now you're dealing with GMLSG, not the CBN Act or other things, or and all that. So most of the AML laws are similar. I would say, just continue applying for senior level roles and mid-level roles and all that. Or else, I don't know how you cope with the low-level roles. Low-level roles are for those guys that just want to break in, maybe just get sponsorship and all that. And then maybe after 5 years, you start applying for senior roles. But it's basically, we're targeting people that know nothing. So we'll upgrade you and you learn a lot anyway as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. So yeah, Andrew, I think you've got, I think the compliance bootcamp would serve as a good refresher for you, and yeah. Do we have any more questions? Must we pay the discount fee now if we want to secure a spot for October? Must we pay the discount fee now? Not necessarily, not necessarily, but I think it's better because, who knows, the prices might go up in October. But yes, does the discount apply for the installmental payment as well? So either you're paying with Klarna, ClearPay, or you're paying directly to our accounts, it's £599. Okay, so right, like I said, we have the apply body where we help people apply to jobs, and we have an affiliate program as well that allows you to refer to us and earn, right, during your course and even after or even before. All you need to do is to register, and you are able. The link has also been dropped in the chat box. You can register if you know one or two people that would benefit. You get 10% of their registration fee. Okay, so upcoming events: UK Compliance starts 13th of August. So does Excel and PowerPoint. PMBA starts today. Data analysis and business intelligence starts today. Digital marketing has been postponed to next week, and same with product management and Scrum Master. And that's about it, guys. Do we have any more questions? For those of you who joined late, right, who are wondering, how can I catch up on everything that's gone on? You can catch up with a replay of this session, which will be up either tomorrow or Monday on YouTube. Just search for RKY Careers on YouTube and subscribe so that you can benefit from everything. In fact, if you just joined and you don't want to wait till then, head on to our YouTube, go and watch the last one. You'll see loads of sessions there. Compliance Masterclass, you see all the courses. In fact, one thing we do differently at RKY Careers is that our project phase of our bootcamp, the work experience phase, we let our students actually present this to stakeholders externally, right, to learn about, to see what they've been working on. So you can see when we say work experience, we really mean it. We might not be able to do that with compliance though, because compliance, there's a lot of confidentiality involved in the cases that are solved in the compliance space. But with regards to projects, BA, Scrub, product management, digital marketing, all their projects are presented in a demo when it's over. Okay, so Otite says, I've just joined and I did not hear anything about project management and data analysis. Project management is and business analysis, not project and data. Project and business analysis is a 4 months program where you get to learn and also gain practical experience in building a project from start to finish. It starts today at 5 to 7 p.m. The discounted amount currently is £599. And there's so much you get, which is everything we've talked about, in the bootcamp. You get, the live classes, you get the practical work experience for 2 months, which is like an internship, right? So you get interview prep and unending weekly support. You get your CV done for you. You get your LinkedIn done for you. You get interview prep, monthly webinars, quarterly free certification courses for continuous development, and so much more. So if you are still sitting on the fence and project and business analysis is your choice, please secure your slots now. Classes starts in 2 hours. Okay, so this recorded class is like how many weeks or months will it stay on the dashboard before it be taken down? Some of us might like to go by it. So you get 12 months access to the LMS and all the resources on it after the course is over. Okay, so it's been great, spending my Saturday afternoon with each and every one of you. The compliance classes starts on 13th of September. It's for 5 Saturdays. And classes hold 4 to 6 p.m. Okay? Will the classes be on here? All our classes hold on Teams, if that's what you mean, and they are virtual. So I don't know if that's what you mean by on here, Otite. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's been great having each and every one of you. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things, about the compliance space, about getting a job and all of that. And I look forward to seeing you in class come September. If you have further questions or you want to secure your slots, the WhatsApp numbers to reach out to have been dropped. You can also send us a DM on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, RKY Careers, and we're happy to take your questions, to facilitate your enrollments. Okay, Otite, if that's what you mean, it means I've answered your question. Let's all have a great evening, guys. And yeah, thank you once again.